Good evening, race fans, and welcome back here to the CiL, the Collegiate iRacing League, here at Texas Motor Speedway, deep in the heart of the biggest, not the biggest state in America, but it's pretty close. Joining me up in the booth, as always, is Josh Crane and John Price. And John, welcome back and welcome to your home state.
Yeah, my home state, home track. It's only about 20 minutes away from where I'm sat right now. I've been to Texas Motor Speedway a number of times, IndyCar, Camping World, NASCAR, my own racing, a little bit of autocross, etc., etc. But what a track that these guys have to tackle tonight. We've got, I think, 46 or 47 drivers, so we're definitely going to take advantage of the last chance qualifier here tonight. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. 70 degrees outside, and actually we got a cool front here today in Texas, so that's not too far off, but a track temperature of 120 degrees, just under 1.5 miles of track length. And Jarrett, it's not as simple as just turn left around this track. We found out the hard way that these tires, after about 3 laps in turns 1 and turns 2, they can get pretty tricky, especially on the exit of turn 2. The car starts to understeer quite a bit, and it gets pretty tight, so you slide up towards the wall pretty fast when you get into the throttle. So you guys won't have to worry about that too much in qualifying here, but they will want to be in the top 30, Josh, by the time that this session is over.
Yeah, you nailed it, John. There's a small plateau first 2 laps or so that these drivers have, and then these tires are going to fall off. And we know that the banking comes off the corner, starts to drop off outside turn 2. They did widen it. Texas Motor Speedway recently revamped, especially in turns 1 and 2, about 20 feet added to the racing width. That banking adjusted as well, but nonetheless, peels off and wants to put those cars about as high as they can. And these drivers are going to have to balance racing with each other and keeping their tires underneath them, and also how they behave in traffic with the draft. Right now, they're qualifying. They're used to having 100% of that air down on their front splitter, on their front bumper, but eventually they're going to be in traffic, and they're not going to have that luxury.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different than Daytona 2 weeks ago, where we saw an incredible last lap pass by Austin Farr, on your screen right now, made that incredible last corner pass on Santiago Torres to take the win away from him and away from the UNC Charlotte machine. So week 1 victory going to the University of Tennessee, driven by Austin Farr. Austin Farr was my pick to win that race, so I'm taking credit there. So he's going to be my pick to win again tonight, so y'all feel free to sprinkle your picks to win in the chat as you feel necessary. But fuel mileage maybe not going to be a problem here. Who knows how many cautions we're going to have. Jarrett, what's your feeling going into this?
Yeah, I tell you what, after the practice run we had a couple nights ago, I think cautions will be plentiful at the start of the race. I think guys will settle in, kind of similar to what we had at Daytona. So expect a fuel mileage run there at the end. These cars are limited to 65% of their normal NASCAR fuel capacity. The drivers do need to bring it down pit road to get fuel at some point during this race. They'll also get 2 additional sets of tires, and we mentioned it a moment ago, those tires going to come at a premium. That time falls off very quickly after those first couple of laps. Josh?
Yeah, that's pretty quick, and it will lead me into my pick for the race. The tires are going to be something, and tires, that right front tire, it's going to be tight. The last time we had something like that was a track called Dover, and it was a concrete surface, and it was pretty difficult to get that thing turned, especially towards the end of a run. So my pick tonight is one who did well there, Ryan Fenty from St. Joe's College. He was able to save the tires at Dover, and I expect that he'll be able to use that discipline, do that again here tonight. A little bit faster. It's a mile and a half, not quite a mile, but nonetheless, I think it'll be exciting to see that team and that group perform tonight.
Yeah, most definitely. And speaking of teams that would like to perform here tonight, we've got a couple guys that this is also their home track as well. The UNT team's out here, so that's going to be Ryan Lusich and a new name to the CiL. That's going to be Eddie Onofre, and or Onofre, excuse me. And so they've this track's probably about 15 minutes south of Denton, I'm going to guess, and so I'm sure they've both been here many times. Maybe they've done the sort of Richard Petty experience and actually have some real life experience on this track. It's very possible as we see guys getting out there, setting their times and qualifying. Josh, I don't know if we've mentioned it yet, but these guys have to get through to the top 30 in this session to make it straight through the feature, and maybe you can elaborate on what's going to happen to those that do not make it through.
That is true. There's about 46 or so, 47 cars in this field this evening. They're all qualifying as we speak. You see on your screen, the top 30 of those are going to pass directly to the future race that you will see shortly this evening, but not before you see the last chance qualifier. So every driver who does not make the top 30 here is going to have one more shot to make it into that race. So that's going to be about a 15 or 20 car event where you're going to see those drivers scramble for those final 12. 12 will transfer from that spot that are going to move in to the feature race and that final race this evening. So a little bit of spicy things for these drivers. And we saw it at Daytona, guys. We were quite thrilled. And these guys, again, will have their balance of patience and discipline trying to get to the front because nobody wants to be in the back when the green flag falls on that last chance qualifying race.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like my pick to win, Austin Farr, sitting in 4th right now. A couple other cars yet to set their qualifying lap, but I'm sticking with Austin Farr for my pick. So, Jared, I'll come to you. Who's your pick here tonight?
Yeah, and I tell you what, he was my pick last week, and he's going to be my pick again. It's going to be Christian Gomez and the FIU team. And he's got some work to do in front of him. Christian Gomez is going to start kind of in that mid-pack area, so pay attention to the FIU team. Maybe going to sneak his way around a couple accidents, get up on through the field, and get into the victory lane here tonight. Josh?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that I had already mentioned Ryan Fenty and that St. Joe's College crew that I think is going to do well tonight. And it is going to come down to driving and tire conservation, but also strategy, guys. We're getting ready for the last chance qualifier now, but that's strategy and who can behave their tires. And by the way, the drivers in this race right now are going to have a sneak peek at what we're going to see. A little bit extra practice in traffic for the event tonight.
Yeah, a little bit of traffic. So we've got here 17 drivers that are going to take part in this last chance qualifier. A few names that we maybe didn't expect to see through here, but either way, we will go through them very quickly here. So these first 10 cars here, Jeremy Millerin for Purdue in the pole position for this race, so he has the best chance of making it through. Nathan Brungut for the University of Lynchburg is going to start on his outside. Jeff Pete in the 3rd position. Christian Hill for Mount St. Mary's in 4th. Ryan Whitlock in 5th. Jeffrey Ford for Mizzou, a new entrant here, in 6th. Carl Lemkool is in 7th for St. Louis University. Ethan Head from Tennessee in 8th. Nicholas Patinella, Robert Morris University taking that 9th spot, and then top 10 is finished out there by Treston Yoder from Robert Morris University.
Starting in 11th here in that last chance qualifier is going to be Austin Trainer, also from Robert Morris University. And it looks like 4 straight Robert Morris University drivers, with Alexander Gagnon starting in 12th here in the last chance qualifier. 13th here tonight in LCQ will be Grant Lemkool from St. Louis University. You'll probably see his brother Carl Lemkool work with him through this LCQ. Samuel Schur, one of our Clemson drivers, rolls off 14th. Edwin Onofre from University of North Texas in 15th. Christian Gomez from FIU will roll off 16th in the last chance qualifier. And Benjamin Smith rounding out all your last chance qualifier drivers. 12 of these 17 will make it to the feature. Josh?
Yeah, very excited and eager to see these guys take the field. As you guys see now, cars rolling off pit road. This field of about 17 cars has just as many, 15 laps to figure out who is going to make it. Remember, top 12 pass. So whether you want to say the top 12 pass or the bottom 5 don't make it, that's going to be the cutoff. You can see the University of Minnesota there and Mount St. Mary's on the outside. University of Lynchburg following the pace car pretty quickly. And then you have Ryan Whitlock there in that Toyota Camry for the University of Alabama at Huntsville. You've mentioned Carl Lemkool. There he is. And guys, the rest of the squad getting ready, getting stacked up. And the lights are out on this pace car. It is bigger than 1 mile, so we're going to go green the next time we hit the line.
Yeah, I was a little bit concerned there for a moment. I didn't think Christian Gomez had made it out of the pit lane, but I see his card there at the back of the field now. So FIU team, nothing to worry about. You've got your driver there. He needs to make his way into the top 12, as Josh just mentioned. So Jeremy Millerin is going to have the pleasure of leading these guys away from the pole position. Here we are through turns 3 and 4. So Jarrett, let's call this green flag.
The pace car going to take that hard left-hand turn on the pit lane, and we're getting set to go from our last chance qualifier. Jeff Pete on the inside, Nathan Brungett on the outside, green flag in the air, and we're underway from Texas Motor Speedway as the field flies off down that front straightaway, heading toward turns number 1 and 2. Josh?
Still playing pretty politely through that turn 1 and now turn 2. These guys, fresh tires, but a little bit of air off their car. We're going to see who drifts up. You see running wide, the 81 machine looking to the outside. Looks like University of Minnesota actually out to a slight advantage to start this one. You can see Tennessee through safely, and then you see Robert Morris University trying not to be in that final 5. See Christian Gomez started in the back, wasting no time getting up and out. He's already made it past about 2 cars, trying to make it 3. He'll look to the inside, but we go now to the lead after 1 lap is the University of Minnesota, and looks like the University of Huntsville and Alabama right behind them.
And Carl Lemke has moved up 4 spots since the start of this race. He's now running in the top 3. So great look for the St. Louis machine up there. Christian Bryant Hill has dropped back 1 spot from 4th. So he's going to settle in for the time being. Single file as we come onto the front stretch here. It's a big corner, actually, this front stretch. So guys are trying to struggle to sort of stay in the draft, tuck in right behind that car, and get the toe all the way through there as they turn down into turn 1. Josh, it's been 3 laps at this point. So we're starting to see cars already get up kind of high and out of the groove as those front tires start to wear and perhaps overheat a little bit. Still 120-degree track temp. That was Austin Trainer sliding up the road there just a moment ago.
Yeah, with a little bit of help and with 13 to go, he's got time to come back, but he's going to use up those tires doing that just in the wall, but sorry, not in the wall, very close to it though. You can see that 65 car of Gomez. He is up, guys. And he is in 9th place now, so that's safe for now, but can never be too safe. As you see, there is trouble coming out of turn 2, and a replay will bring us the answer shortly, but a couple cars getting together. You rode on board with Christian Gomez in real time as you went through that. Looks like Nathan Brungett we follow now. Maybe a little bit of help from the Mount St. Mary's car. That's the 85 machine.
Yeah, 85 machine just getting into the inside of that corner. I don't know if that was a missed spotter call. I don't think it was. It just looked like the 85 kind of drove into that left rear quarter panel of Nathan Brungett. So that is going to be an instant responsibility, I think, for the 85. The stewards will take a look at that one. But, yeah, not great for Nathan Brungett, but he does have a fast repair. He can take advantage of that now if he needs to and try to get back out there on the lead lap if at all he has a chance to reclaim maybe a top 12 position.
Yeah, indeed. So that will be, about 10 laps to go. We're going to much the field up. Not the end of the world for Nathan Brungett and the University of Lynchburg, but John, not how you want to be. And that was up towards the field. So those guys were racing kind of on the fringe to be in position. In fact, you can see that had retained his position. I think now is dropping back is Christian Hill for those guys. In fact, it looks like Christian Gomez will be coming down pit road. Guys, we know he was clear, so we'll have to see. Maybe we can get a word with that FIU race team to understand what this strategy is. Don't know if he's grabbing a little bit of damage, grabbing some new tires. In fact, I say that, guys, realize that tires we know are so key here. Is his plan to take these 10 laps, have 5 laps fresh tires? We know that's an advantage. And is this a big brain play from the 65 crew, guys?
This could pay off big if he gets these tires on and gets back out there on the lead lap. Shouldn't be a problem. I think cars back down off the jacks now, so just a little bit of fuel going to go in that 65 machine. But that's, I think, a really great strategy, Josh. And, he's going to be able to get out there immediately and have a little bit of heat in these tires as he gets off of pit lane. Still sitting there. I'm not sure why he's sitting there for so long. So we'll check in and see if he gets off pit lane cleanly here. But the pace light cars are still, the lights on the pace car are still on. So it will go by another time. So he's got a little bit of time left if he needs to make it back out there again. But that may be a pro strat, Josh. I like the call. Here he is coming off of pit road now. And that's going to give him an immense amount more grip, especially at the front of the car and especially in turns 1 and 2. So I expect to see a number of cars washing up high on the exit of turn 2 and to see the 65 machine probably steam down the inside at that point.
I think so, yeah. And, he's going to have the opportunity to go wherever he wants, whether he wants to come off low off turn 2 or drive around the outside in 3 and 4. We know the turns 3 and 4 here. You can be a little bit more aggressive. Don't have to lift, actually. It's turns 1 and 2 that can be the more technical part, but tires are tires, especially here at Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, that is definitely the truth. And, this is probably more of a driver's track as far as NASCAR tracks go. And again, I'm a self-proclaimed road guy. I've said it once, I'll say it again. And I found this track extremely challenging in the practice sessions. It's a hard track to drive. I found myself coming out of the pit lane and having to drive, over my normal limits, I would say, to just stay attached to the car in front and try to pick up the tow. Didn't help that car was going to be Austin Farr that was in front of me, so he's always going to pull away from me on an oval circuit. But either way, I think that 65 machine is going to slot into third, actually, after the damaged cars and the cars with an EOL filter out here. So he's only got one spot to make up. Maybe make that 2 spots. He's probably in the 14th to 15th as the timing tower gets sorted out there. And but either way, that's not very far that he has to go up this field to get into the feature race. And I wouldn't be terribly surprised if he's able to make it well into the top 5 in just a matter of time.
Yeah, I tell you what, and I am paying attention here to that tiger-looking car. University of Missouri at Columbia. Newcomer, Jeffrey Ford, there at the University of Missouri. Looking good, guys. He's got the paint. He's in 5th place. He is ready to take this thing to the show later on tonight. And you always love to see new faces getting in, mixing it up, and succeeding here. And he's about to do that. Jarrett, bring us the green flag.
So Jeff Pete once again on that inside. Whitlock green up flag on the top side. Green flag in the air. And Lemcool and Patinella in row number 2. Going to try and give it a good push. Bryant Hill down the low side as they head toward turn 1. John?
Yeah, Jeff Pete gotten out to a great lead here at the start, so he's going to lead down there into turn 1. Ryan Whitlock hot on his tail. We've got a couple cars going side by side. That's going to be Nicholas Patinella and Jeffrey Ford, the newcomer to the field, side by side right now on the exit of 2. Might have helped to get their tires cooled down a little bit. There's the 65 machine making a lot of ground up here very early, very quickly. So he's up to 7th already and right onto the tail of Ethan Head. I think Ethan Head's going to be the Clemson University driver. Actually, no, I take that back. I stand corrected on that one. Ethan Head is University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Two Tennessee machines in here. Going down here on the inside for the FIU machine. Just the Mizzou machine in front of him, Josh.
And correct, I think that FIU has explained the strategy here. Not too hard to see. That car is moving. University of Alabama is going to look at the win. But if you're in the top 5, guys, the mission is not to compete for a win and wreck in the process. You just want to finish this race. Top 5, top 12 are going to transfer and get to that final position. So with the exception here of Christian Gomez, who is packing much fresher tires, you really don't need to push the issue. Now, if you go back to P10, 11 through 14, that's going to be where we see guys making moves, and that's where a potential yellow flag could brew.
Yeah, potential yellow flag, but currently both the Lemcool brothers are also through the 013, the 095, both through the top 12 right now. So the man on the bubble is the newcomer from UNT Onofre, has to keep this gap behind, and he should be safe. It's just under a 2-second gap back to Trainer, and I think that'll be enough. Once you lose that draft, it's going to be really hard to catch back up to the cars in front. So if it stays like this with 5 to go, it's looking good for that UNT machine to make it through. So that would leave Christian Hill and Treston Yoder and Austin Trainer getting knocked out of this session, as well as the 2 cars that have since retired. That's going to be Jeremy Miller, and who I think started on pole in this session. I may be mistaken there, but either way, both those guys not having the ideal day. Benjamin Smith down there in 17th. But Christian Gomez going around the outside in turns 1 and 2. Would you like to see that? Plenty of grip left in this car, and he's up to 2nd place. He does not want to start from 42nd. He wants to start from 31st if he can.
He wants to, and I think he'd like to start as high up as he could. A little bit of a drift there from the University of Minnesota as well as St. Louis. And you see Robert Morris there also in your screen. So the leader, Ryan Whitlock, that's the 89 machine from University of Alabama at Huntsville. Looking back now to Tennessee, Knoxville, and actually both St. Louis University machines. And Missouri at Columbia, that's the 82 machine. Ford trying to work up high. See if he can get a little run off this corner. And guys, he will. He'll complete the pass flat down into that sweeping turns 3 and 4. It's fun when you're a driver and you're able to get that car to sit down right there.
Yeah, turns 3 and 4 are pretty rewarding on this circuit, and turns 1 and 2, maybe not so much, requires quite a bit more patience, but I tell you what, this is giving me a lot of hope for the feature race for some good, clean racing here, because so far, these 17 cars out there right now have been doing a pretty good job outside of that one instant, which, probably could have happened to just about anybody, but very minor contact. They were sending that car around earlier, and with just 2 to go, Gomez has taken the front spot away from the 89 machine, Ryan Whitlock, dropping down to second place, so Gomez executing the expert strategy. Jarrett, I'm not sure I expect him to be first with under 2 to go, but here we go, man. Down into turn 3. He snatched that position away beautifully.
He did, moving underneath and using a lot of discipline and patience, guys. He had to pace. He knew he had to pace. He didn't have to push it, but he's going to come off this turn too. One last time down the backstretch. You can see the race developing behind, but we will follow here Missouri and Tennessee. Missouri at Columbia and Tennessee, St. Louis University. They'll all single file again. Again, they don't have to pass each other right here. They can all agree on a truce for the final 100 meters until we get to the next race coming up. So this is going to be for the top 12 positions that are going to transfer, guys.
Yeah, so checkered flag here on this session. Christian Gomez taking away that top spot, so he will start 31st in the feature race. Good job from the FIU team. Ryan Whitlock in second here, so he will start 32nd. Jeff Pete, Minnesota, the top finishing alumni from that run just now, will start 33rd. Carl Lemkool, 34th, so he makes it through as well. Nicholas Patinella, 35th. Jeffrey Ford in 36th. Ethan Head in 37th. Grant J. Lemkool in 38th, so the younger Lemkool brother. Nathan Brungut recovering after his instant on, I think, lap 4 or so of that last chance qualifier. Will start 39th. Alexander Gagnon in 40th. Edwin Onofre in 41st. And then Samuel Schur in 42nd will complete our field. And yeah, that was pretty fun to watch, I'd say. I enjoyed that one. There was some good moves there, expert moves from Christian Gomez, especially that FIU team. Number of Robert Morris cars making it through as well as these guys. Josh gets set out there to take a few moments to warm up after they've been watching these other 15 cars go at it for the last 15 laps or so. What do you do in a warm-up like this? What are you trying to focus on to get your mind set for this next session?
So something that your local short track drivers don't always get to do, just a little warm up before the feature, is the guys that have been sitting and observing, taking notes that whole time, now going to get back on track, make sure the track is as they expect, see how much rubber is down, just get back in a rhythm, right? They qualified, I don't know, about 20 minutes ago, and now they're gonna get set up. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do, John, is take a minute to catch my breath. I know it was just a qualifier race, little 15 laps, but man, that was noteworthy. I was thoroughly entertained, and I think that we learned the importance of tires. Even, I mean, guys, just 5 laps on tires, and FIU drove through the field, last to first challenge, and he made it look easy. Christian Gomez driving that thing.
Christian Gomez going to join us here now from the FIU Panther Esports team, and congrats on that last chance qualifier win, and with that big brain play to take those tires.
Oh, if you only need, that was the half of it. The other half was that my mic got tangled up here. Well, even before that, it was just calamity of errors before we even got to that point. I sped off a pit road during qualifying. I was in the LCQ, screwed myself there. Got my mic all tangled up, so I unplugged the cable and plugged it back in. No audio for the first 8 laps. So I had to come into the fix to fix the audio, and the tires were just a bonus, quite frank with you. On the that was signature for me there, honestly.
I don't know if I've ever heard of that one before. Somebody coming in to pit to fix their microphone, by chance taking brand new tires and then going out there and taking away the win in the last chance qualifier. I think you might have figured out some secrets for this race. You're gonna try to employ a clever tire strategy into this feature race.
We'll see. Clearly, I saw the advantage there. Only 8 laps of tires, and we already saw how big the fall off was there. So definitely gonna take that into account. I'm so stressed right now because I really never been in an LCQ situation and how bad everything was going. So I need a minute to it's just it's stressful, but yeah, doing good. We're in the big show. We're good. So now it's just a matter of just picking our way through the field, and yeah, definitely made it entertaining for the viewer and for myself personally, for better or worse.
Well, I think we were fully entertained and feel good about it. Catch your breath. Yeah, I think we're taking notes. I'm sure that the drivers are taking notes and teams as well on what we just saw. Tires passing, a lot of multi grooves. We saw some passes on the high side, low side, just about any side with fresh tires. So excellent work, and we're looking forward to a continuation of it coming up here.
Yeah, it definitely made the outside line work there with the tires. I think it's only going to work with new tires, to be quite frank with you. I don't think if you're on even tires with somebody else, I don't think the outside line is going to work, especially in turn 1 and turn 2, because the banking there is just, not the same as 3 and 4. But definitely, if you got a fresh set of feel goods, you'll be able to part them up really good. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I'm shaking right now. I just hit some of my... I was in a drawing race. Whoa. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll let you catch your breath before this feature race kicks off. Great watching your race, and have a good one in this feature.
All right. I'll probably see you guys at some point during the race. So, hopefully make it more entertaining.
All right, so that was Christian Gomez from FIU right there, the Panther Esports team, all watching on the big screen here tonight. So if you want to see him in victory lane, let us know in the chat, and let us know who you think is going to come away with the victory in the chat here before we kick things off in the feature. You've heard our predictions. What's your prediction as we wind down here in warm-up and get set to go for the big show? John?
Yeah, 1 second on the clock, and boom, it ticks over. Feature race on deck right now. 65 laps at Texas Motor Speedway as we get set to run here. And yeah, we'll see how that tire strategy plays out here. Santiago Perez taking away the pole position for UNC Charlotte. Robbie Vrabel Jr., a man with over 6,000 iRatings, so no slouch here on iRacing. For St. Clair College. And then Ryan Fenty, St. Joseph's College up there in New York, is going to take away that third spot. Austin Farr in fourth for Tennessee. Jeremy Rogers in fifth for A&M. I believe Jeremy is our top. No, Robbie Vrabel is an alumni, so Jeremy has some competition up there at the front of the alumni pack tonight. Jared Kaler in sixth for UNC Charlotte. Gage Anderson, the top UTA machine, UT Arlington in seventh. Ryan Lusich for North Texas in 8th, Kenneth Talbot 9th for Alabama Huntsville, and Joshua Tiggs in 10th for Buena Vista University.
Rolling off in 11th here tonight, sharing my namesake, is going to be Jared Grodzicki from Kansas State. We talked about picking him to win, so to be curious to see where the number 3 finishes before the night is over. Athena Leclerc rolls off in the 12th position. Rolling off 13th is Matthew Tucker from Jacksonville State. Matthew Nordberg from NC State 14th. Zachary Lindler from Clemson 15th. Henry Morris from UC Berkeley 16th. Hagan Johnson from Clemson 17th. Bradley Daniels from Robert Morris 18th. Ethan Morris and Esteban Munoz making up your top 20.
Followed by Andrew McCall, University of Purdue, and Derek Jennings from Grand Canyon University. Sean Campbell from Randolph. Gabe Swan from Auburn. Representing Clemson University, Nick Stockner, Cody Fadenauer, Scott Ratliff, Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology. Tyler Watts from Fort Hays State University. Colin Copa from Indiana. FIU, Christian Gomez getting into the names from the previous race. You just saw Ryan Whitlock, Jeff Pete, Carl Lemcool, Nick Patinella from Robert Morris, and then that's going to be 36th, held by Jeffrey Ford, Ethan Head, Grant Lemcool, Nathan Brungut, Alexander Gagnon again from RMU, Edwin Onofre, and Samuel Scherer from Clemson University again, and Robert Morris's Tristan Yoder in 43rd, and Jarrett with not a moment to spare coming out of turn 4, the green flag.
That big 43 car pack sneaks up on you quick, and we're going to almost double the field. We're going to actually over double the field size for this feature race. So all 43 cars on track, 43 cars set to go, and this feature race just about ready to rock and roll. Santiago Terres, the former Coke Series driver, going to lead us to the green flag with Robbie Vrabel on his outside. It's a student, it's an alumni, and it's green here at Texas as the field hammers down toward turn 1.
Down into turn 1, a little bit of wheel spin on maybe new tires from these guys. You see the University of North Carolina, Charlotte down, Ryan Fenty from St. Joe's College down to the inside. They'll try and get off the corner well. You can see the Cessna machine there. That's number 3 trying to move up through. And then you see the Clemson number 5 car. Nick Stockner, guys, 3 wide, getting into the corner. Almost 4 wide. They thought better of it, though. Esteban Munoz trying to get around that big paw, orange paw, coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, this is a big pack back here. It looks like Esteban Munoz is just about the front of the pack trying to hang onto the back of Ethan Miles Morris, but this is definitely the second group as we run right now. So Esteban Munoz up there at the front, Nicholas Stockner in that number 5 Clemson machine down there on the bottom side. A little bit of a wiggle coming out of the corners. We jump back up here to your leaders. Looks like Austin Farr's dropped down a couple of positions. UNT following just behind, and then A&M just behind that as we cross the start-finish straight, excuse me. So that's going to be Santiago Torres in first, still Robbie Vrabel in second, and then Ryan Fenty in 26th. Back to this second pack back here. Cars getting all spread out, and I've got a yellow on my screen.
I think that's correct. A yellow flag in the air, and saw a couple cars darting around back there. We'll get the replay and see what's going on. Looks like the 24 machine taking a little time on pit road.
So down here, this looks like the number 65 machine turning the 24. Robert Morris University taking some avoiding action onto pit lane. More grip in the tarmac than there is on the grass. So that was going to be coming out of turn 4 there. So we're riding on board. This is actually a separate incident. I think that's the number 5 Clemson machine, able to stay out of everybody's way as he cuts across the grass there. Going to lose a whole lot of momentum from that, but I think the yellow just about saved him from that one. So this is a little bit further back in the field yet again. So this is, Gomez down here on the bottom side. I'm not quite sure what happened there. That was an interesting one, Josh. I don't know if the 24 checked up and the 65 just wasn't expecting that, but that's kind of what it looked like to me.
Checked up is the operative word there. The 24 machine getting down on that apron and getting loose, trying to save it, and immediately slowing down in the process. So depending on where your loyalty lies, some fans may say that Christian Gomez would earn for FIU some type of penalty, but it's going to be a racing incident as the body sees it. With the 65, not much time to react there to the personality of the car in front. So everybody going to get wrapped up, and we'll see if some of those drivers choose to use their fast repair. Right, if you had a strategy and you were in that one, maybe your strategy's changed a little bit.
Yeah, strategies need to be adaptable at a race like this. Lap 5 out of 65, our first yellow of the night. Maybe not our last as well. Santiago Torres still up there at the front. Robbie Vrabel still in second. So 1, 2, 3 still as they gridded up here in from qualifying rather. Let's see if we've got any big movers throughout the field. Nobody popping out massively. I'm not terribly surprised, Josh. I think we're running into sort of the same problem that we saw at Daytona 2 weeks ago, where that low line is really the only place that works. If you start to wash out wide, you're going to lose a lot of speed and probably a lot of spots.
I think so, and that could encourage some of us to use our bumpers a little bit extra. So we're gonna have to watch that. These guys know that the race is 65 laps long. They're they just qualified, and then they had a warm up, and they had a couple cars in the qualifier, but this is the most number of cars they're gonna see on track all night long. So it's gonna be tough for these guys. You see the University of Clemson on your screen right there. That's Nick Stockner, making sure that 5 car is hooked up, ready to go. We saw he was racing Esteban Munoz there for a little bit. Also in your screen, you see University of Auburn and then Grand Canyon University ahead. So everybody's got somebody out their windshield that they're trying to get a hold of.
Yeah, I can tell you a Cup car driving on grass is not an easy thing to control. So credit to Nick Stockner for keeping it under wraps there as he came out of turn 4 there on the first lap. So well done to him. Plenty of car control in that Clemson machine, but plenty other cars that I expect to be a little bit further up by this point. We got Athena Leclerc right now sitting in 12th, started in 12th, so no moving for that. Matthew Norberg just in front, and the 76 machine moving up 3 spots into 11th spot. That's that NC white and red machine down there, number 76. And then Henry Morris, a name that we're also pretty used to seeing pretty far up the field. But Josh, Jarrett, this field's pretty stacked, man. We're seeing a lot of fast cars out there, guys trying to hang on to the draft. Bit of a 2-lane thing forming at certain times. Jarrett, anything surprise you so far?
I don't think so, but we saw the field kind of get into 2 big groups, and I think that was a little shocking to see. Not one giant group, not everyone single file, but 2 distinct draft groups right there. And pay attention to that throughout the night as we see more guys take tires, more guys not. Reminder, they get 2 sets of tires, and we saw just how valuable those are. So we're probably going to see tires start to mix up. Guys in the front take tires, guys in the back stay out. and see how that changes that dynamic throughout the race. Josh?
Yeah, I think so. Another dynamic that I'm thinking of throughout the race is going to be a couple of these cars from the St. Clair College Esports Group. We have the 083 and we got the 61 hanging on around the top 15. And, it's good to have friends here. We've seen that before. And so these drivers are going to be able to communicate and make plans that suit them. Not quite the same flavor as Daytona. You're not looking exactly for a drafting partner, but you're looking for someone that you can trust to race around and maybe put your banner, your school colors, up at the front. And it's going to take a little bit of teamwork, because also at the front, guys in 1st and 4th position, North Carolina at Charlotte, and we don't have to say it again.
No, definitely not. Jared Kaler, no stranger to the front of this field. And Santiago Perez, I don't know if Jared Kaler can ask for a better teammate than a former Coke Series driver here in the esports world. So let's see if that UNC Charlotte team can hang on to that win here tonight. Lost it last week or 2 weeks ago at Daytona to the Tennessee machine, but Tennessee's out there all by himself down there in 5th spot right now with the UNT machine to join him on the top side. So Jarrett coming into turn 3 right now. Guys are getting ready to go, getting right in that mindset for this restart. Santiago Perez going to take it away here.
See the big field start to group on up. We'll see after the first caution. We talk about cautions breeding cautions, and sometimes things just start to settle on out. We'll see if that's going to happen right here or if it's a little more of the same, but I think we got some green flag laps ahead. Santiago Perez going to lead us to the green flag on his outside. Robbie Vrabel Jr., green flag in the air, and the cars are off, heading past that start-finish line through the tri-oval and down towards Josh Crane in turn 1. Josh?
Down in turn 1, you can see that St. Clair machine take that 2nd position. No time wasted. North Carolina Charlotte on the outside, but good push from Austin Farr is going to bring that machine. Now we're going to go 3 wide. Austin Farr wants that position. 3 wide off turn 2. We're going to go down the backstretch. Looks like they're going to get sorted out now. 2 wide. Does Austin Farr have the advantage? No, he does not into turn 3. Looks like it's P4 for Tennessee, but it is going to be an increase to P3 for North Carolina at Charlotte. He'll set his sights on his teammate winning the race currently. Ryan Fenty and St. Joe's College, you see they're in 5th or 6th as they run into turn 1. Guys, they're still racing.
Yeah, Derek Jennings here in that Grand Canyon car, staying out of the way of everybody else here. Number 9 washing up a little high here. He may lose the spot. That 2 machine running down there on the low side. Gage Swan in that car trying to make something happen here. It's going to be not quite side by side into turn 3. The number 5, Nicholas Stockner, getting in on this action as well. Clemson trying to move their way up. They've also got Colin Colpa there on the top side. That Indiana machine looks a lot similar to that A&M machine, actually, in terms of paint scheme, maybe just a reverse paint scheme there. Auburn down there on the low side in turn 1. Tricky to go side by side in turn 1 because, as we mentioned earlier, that car can wash up at an instant as you get on the throttle, but everywhere I see so far, guys are pretty well behaved coming out of there. Nick Stockner trying to tuck back in and grab that draft into turn 3.
Yeah, and we might as well put a camera on that turn 2 wall. We're going to see plenty of paint placed right there all night long. Jared Krasinski you saw on your screen. Now back to your leaders. That's the 18 machine. That's University of Charlotte and University of North Carolina at Charlotte. And then you see Dan Banner there making that work. Plenty of other drivers. You see Jeremy for Texas A&M. But guys, I'm noticing that not too spread out through the rest of the field. You see UC Berkeley there, Clemson in, and several Grand Canyon University. A little bit of a move there from the red machine as we go through. That's a 1-43 car. Esteban Munoz, we know that he's trying to get in here. He'll work on Jacksonville State, Jacksonville, Alabama. As we go in, guys, we're going to need more room in turn 1 here. We go down to the backstretch, continuing to watch these guys battle it out, and now we're getting to a point in the race. Everybody is going to maybe agree on position, understand what's going on and how they are reacting, responding, who can you trust around you, and also trying to see how their cars react. We talked about tires, we talked about lots of different things, and it's going to be a little bit different for all these guys. They go through and they're taking notes. Crew chiefs taking notes, team guys taking notes, and trying to understand how these cars transition throughout the run.
And Josh, you mentioned the transition. especially with the tires. As the tires start to wear, maybe change your line up a little bit. And right in front, big gaggle of cars. It's Matthew Tucker, Jared Godzicki, and Zach Lindler all under a blanket here battling for 14th. Back behind him, little trouble right there. Looked like the FIU car put a door on Nicholas Patinella.
Well, you said a big gaggle of cars, and I thought you were going to say a big checkup because it was. I think there was a couple of guys getting loose into the corner, and we saw the accordion effect. We got enough cars. They all had to agree on where to go, and didn't quite work out. But we stay green, continuing to be 2 and 3 wide through this field. AZ Grand Canyon University trying to go to work on the 61 machine. That's Athena Leclerc from St. Clair College. That's the Jacksonville State machine that you saw, and then you can see Clemson trying to work under. Didn't quite get there. Chose to stay on the high side. That Cessna machine will stay lower. The three-way. We've got a big race going into turn 3.
That looks like the 5 of Nicholas Stockner in that blue and white Clemson car. He's got Lindler, another Clemson driver, up on his top side. And that big gaggle of cars, Colin Kolpka, Esteban Munoz, Austin DeLong, all making up that big pack right behind.
Yeah, we can take a moment to observe simply the finesse and the discipline some of these guys. As we say that there, the 9 car around, big contact between the 9 and the 3. That's Florida International University as well as the 3 machine. So these cars will go around. That will be a yellow, guys.
Yeah, big time yellow there. Unfortunate for the FIU team. Last thing that they really wanted to happen here tonight was any sort of car failure. And that's not going to help the likes of the number 65 machine. Christian Gomez wants all of his teammates in this race to help him out. So we'll see what happened here. Starting to wash up wide, it looks like. Trying to go almost 4 wide there on the exit of 1. And that is just so rarely going to work out for any of these guys, as many of them found out there. So we'll have to take a look from above there. Stewards may take a look at that one to see exactly who was at fault. But it's so tricky when you're in the outwash of another car. You're sliding up like that. Maybe you expected the 3 to give him a little bit more space, Josh.
Yeah, you know, it's tough, and you talk about space, and you wonder maybe he intended to, but it's going to be a little bit tricky when you have that there. Yeah, the 2 and the 747 involved. Looks like St. Louis University getting turned at the last minute, but will they stay off? Yeah, just into the outside wall, but the rest of the competitors stay off. So everybody, and it is hard when you're on that slightly banked Texas backstretch. Yeah, it didn't even see possibly. We know that Carl Lemkool, the 095 car in VR, probably wondering, how did I get turned backwards?
Yeah, wondering that indeed, as we see a number of cars coming down onto pit lane, going to take that fast repair. St. Clair College coming down, as well as the 28. I think that's Ryan Fenty, actually. No, Ryan Fenty's the 26. Who's going to be the 28 here on pit lane as they come down here? 28 is going to be Joshua Tiggs coming down for a full service and stop here on pit lane. The 55 as well in pit lane, Kenneth Talbot, and the 61, Athena Leclerc. Number of cars coming down here, a couple of Clemson cars as well. It's actually pretty busy down there. Pit lane, one of the most dangerous parts on the track, but luckily cars can kind of clip through each other a little bit on pit lane here, so not that big of an issue. Guys are filing back here out here. This may shake some things up, guys. We've got a little bit of a contrary strategy going on now, so we'll see if any of these guys that took tires here are going to make their way up to the front.
Yeah, and as we look at more of these replays, it's going to be a racing incident again from the booth that both these cars coming off the turn and made contact side by side. Both cars were alongside. And then really no car that was out. I'm sure the outer car could have given more room. The inner car could have stayed a little bit lower, but when you're racing, it doesn't always happen, and that's going to be a racing incident there. Nobody really had to give room in that instance, but as it finds out, you don't always have to give room, but sometimes you end up in that situation. So both cars do not quite live, and we'll go pick up their fast repair, and then we'll see what these guys do. But guys, back at the front, Jarrett, John, we have a familiar face, couple of familiar faces. I spy a Tennessee machine sitting second.
Yeah, Tennessee machine sitting second, but he is in a UNC sandwich right now. If there's one place I probably wouldn't want to be, it would be there. Austin Farr can win from second place. We've seen him do it a number of times before, including 2 weeks ago. But man, this is going to be tough for him. I can't wait to see what he does here. I love watching his onboard video because he just drives incredibly smooth. I see a lot of other guys sawing at the wheel, getting a lot of brake input, a lot of throttle action in there. I don't think he changes any of his inputs across the entire lap. He is just ultra smooth on the steering. I think that really helps him to save the tires as well. But I've not ridden on board much with Santiago Perez, Josh, but I wouldn't be terribly surprised if he has a very similar driving style.
I think there are a couple themes at the top of the field. I think it will be smooth inputs, smooth on the wheel, smooth on the pedals, not scrubbing the tires. You might even underdrive the car just a little bit just to keep your tires low, especially in iRacing specifically for a little while, though that has changed a little bit with the tire model. And yeah, patience and keeping your points consistent. You can bet that these guys are going to lift and get back on the gas at generally the same points around the track.
Yeah, Jared, I'll tell you one thing I'm happy about right now. There's a number of Texas cars up there in the top 10. I see Ryan Lusich, Gage Anderson, and Jeremy Rogers all representing their respective universities, UNT, UTA, and A&M University, all in Texas schools. And, you know, I'll claim my bias right now, man. I'm pretty happy about that. But I think we've got a couple Michigan cars in the field as well. Athena Leclerc is a Michigan car as well, I believe, down there right now in 24th position. So was 12th on the grid. Really good qualifying from the St. Clair team, actually. Sorry, I don't know why I always confuse her for a Michigan Tech car. I'm thinking of somebody else, I suppose. But in 22nd right now. I do think she came onto pit lane, though, so she will have the advantage of fresh tires on this restart. So UNC Charlotte on the inside now has Austin Farr on the outside. We'll see what they do here on this restart. Jarrett, what are your predictions?
You know, I think we're going to have to really pay attention to those people that came down pit lane and took tires, because they're going to want to make up those positions and fast, and especially with that speed difference, it might get a little bit hairy down there in the backside of this field. So pay attention to guys sneaking up on through the field. Josh?
I think you said it. I think that you have seen the drivers and teams that are gambling on this going green or mostly green to the end. They're going to pick up that fuel. They're going to pick up their tires, their first set anyways. 20 laps to go, so almost a third of it under our belt. They might be able to get to the end. So you're going to see the drivers that have made their bed. That's their gamble.
So field going to be led to the green flag once again. Santiago Gutierrez, no surprise, up there in the lead. Looking from row one. Here is the green flag in the air. Field takes the green flag once again. And you're going to watch the tail end of this field really charge up through the field as they head toward turns one. It's UNC Charlotte 1-2. Josh?
And it is what everyone else maybe did not want to see. You could tell that they had the team. They were talking to each other. So certainly some communication puts those cars first and second. You see your Texas schools, John, getting after it, but more so. 3 wide going into 3. Tennessee, I see St. Joe's College. I see Huntsville. And pushing up the banking just a little bit. That's going to be Alexander Gagnon, Robert Morris University. So Huntsville, there you see FIU just nosing into your picture. It's Esteban Munoz, guys, in the 9 machine. But all these guys trying to figure out where their place is in line. And it looks like it's going to be a yellow. Currently, it's the 804 machine. The 13 machine, I think that would be the 13 machine in the wall. We'll have to check that one again, but I think that's what we will rule on this one.
Yeah, that would have been coming out of turn 3, just trying to stay in the throttle there. That looks like it's going to be Grant Lemcool getting up in the wall there on the front stretch and causing a whole bunch of mayhem after that point. Not exactly what the St. Louis team was looking for here. I'm not sure where his brother is in the field at the moment, looking for his name right now. His brother's in 28th, so this is coming through turn 3, the 13 up there on the top side right now. So he's going to get a good run off the corner, but he's just going to carry a little bit too much speed. Actually, this happened in the main stretch, so just kind of lost sight of where the corner probably was and turned in a little bit too late and ran up too high. Not enough grip up there and slid up into the wall, and that is the result of it. A lot of damage on a lot of cars here, guys, and I don't know if anybody's got too many trips that they want to take down pit lane left, but that's going to be a tough one.
Yes, sir. So we have learned a couple lessons. The North Carolina at Charlotte team up front, and these guys going to be set to go and really going to make the race a lot harder on everyone behind them. But Austin Farr and we saw Ethan Head from the University of Tennessee at Knoxville going to try to say something about that. There you see coming off pit road, that would be the 804 of Cody Fadenauer involved in that. You can see there another Ethan Kurtz, the 25 machine. He will be joining that as well. So these guys trying to get ready. But I'm going to see your Texas schools again. Jarrett, 4, 5, 6, or sorry, John. Those are going to be your guys. That's Gage Anderson there in the 91 machine. The University of North Texas represented by Ryan Lusich and then Jeremy Rogers there in the 12th man machine from Texas A&M, 112. But guys, Grand Canyon University and Randolph, guys, not a surprise that we see Randolph there in that 30 machine. Guys, Sean Campbell, you could put him in one of those Little Tykes pedal cars, and I think he'd work his way to the front. We've seen him in Road, Oval, GT3, GTE, Cup, Xfinity. This guy drives.
Yeah, definitely not a man to ever think twice about betting on for sure either. And Derek Jennings worked his way up from 22nd to sit there in 7th right now. Sean Campbell from 23rd to 9th. So both those guys moving up a whole heck of spots right now. Colin Kolpa moving up from 30th to 11th at this time. Not quite sure how the pit stop strategy has affected this. I imagine that there is a number of drivers in there that have not pitted yet and still have yet to come down pit lane and take on some new tires and fuel. But fuel may not be as much of an issue with all these yellows. Jared, I don't know if you know this or not, but it's possible, I think, to go a fuel or on a major fuel saving run here and not have to take any fuel or tires if there's enough cautions, of course.
Yeah, and I think that's what some guys maybe are banking on, that you don't need the tires. You can just hang on to your spot. You're good on fuel, and that's certainly a strategy. We're through 25 of 65 laps here in the CiL from Texas Motor Speedway, so it's definitely got to be crossing some guys' minds, especially in the front. Guys like that UNC Charlotte team, like Tennessee's Austin Farr, maybe thinking about, how do I make this work? You still have 2 sets of tires, remember, as well. So the guys who took tires, it's tough sledding back there, Josh.
Yeah, I think so. And you see there Colin Kolpa. You can also see there in the 47 machine, Edwin Onofre from the University of North Texas, teammates with Ryan Lusich, but mechanical engineering technology student at the school there. Streams on Twitch. Pretty good at sim racing, Smash Ultimate, and looking for a seat in the world of motorsports. So like so many groups trying to understand and get after it. So he's getting after it out here and doing a good job of it, representing North Texas well. We saw, guys, he made it, qualified out of the last chance qualifier, and up in your screen right now. So nothing to shake a stick or a tire iron at. But at the front, the lights are out on the pace car, Jarrett.
Once again, going to head to that green flag, Santiago Terres. And you can tell the UNC Charlotte team working together. Great jump for them. They'll slide in 1-2. Back behind him, Austin Farr going to try and catch up. Top 3, single file. But it's 2x2 back behind. Josh?
Yeah, and a little bit tricky getting going, guys. A little bit of an accordion down there on the front stretch. But up near the front, no problems. It's going to be 2x2 as North Texas tries to make a move. So does Buena Vista. Going through, you can see the 81 machine. That's Robert Morris University, looking low underneath and actually just not drifting up, doing a pretty good job of staying clean. You can see the 65, I think that is Christian Gomez. It is trying to find a way around these guys. Maybe he's doing the same tire strategy. In the walls, a 37 machine. That's Clemson University, and they will collect the 81 machine. Everybody takes evasive action, and you saw it right there. It looks like up on the wall is the 81 machine. That might be a tow. Yeah, just out of room. Basically need a little bit wider short chute there across the front for the 37 machine.
Yeah, I think we saw this happening a long way back there. As soon as he got close to that wall, he's going to have to come across the grass there. And that 81, I don't know if I've ever seen a car get perched up there on iRacing, but there's a first time for everything. So into the wall just as he crosses the start-finish straight, and then into the side of the 81 machine. So 37 not having a great day. Zachary Lindler for Clemson University, and Alexander Gagnon, unfortunately innocent bystander in that one, but there's always going to be collateral damage when you're racing here at Texas, and they're finding out that one the hard way. But yeah, I think we saw that one coming from ways back there, Josh.
Yeah, I think so. And unlike some of our previous racing incidents, that will be an end-of-line penalty and a slap on the wrist there for that machine. The first strike for the 37 machine from Clemson, but it's okay. They have about 12 more here in the league this evening.
Yeah, 12 more, so no problem here. Lap 28 out of 65 right now on your clock, so not quite halfway yet. 8:44 right now in Texas time, so plenty of racing still yet to go. Just under 40 laps. Santiago Terres and I think you called it, Jarrett, there at the start. It looks like they were communicating pretty strongly there. Jarrett and Santiago got away at pretty much the exact same time, and so I wouldn't be at all surprised, Jarrett, if they were talking on the radio for that.
Yeah, and that's what's so cool about the CIL. You can have these teams that form through the colleges, and you see that UNC Charlotte team, maybe the Tennessee team, hoping he gets a teammate up there as well. And Josh, I think it's a good time to mention the scoring as well. We have two different championships here in the CIL. We not only have the Drivers' Championship, which is your typical driver-based point system, very similar to the IndyCar point system, but also a school point system. Care to explain that a little bit, Josh?
Exactly. Anyone who is familiar with Formula One or other forms of motorsports will be familiar with Constructors' Championship. These schools trying to go head-to-head, using a little bit of strategy, using multi-car teams, and a little bit of skill to put their schools atop the standings at year's end. And then naturally, the driver standings, where these drivers are competing for their own titles. So nothing new there, but certainly these schools trying to get after it, and schools now supporting drivers, organizations getting behind these guys with resources, with setup, with time, track time, and content acquisition for these drivers. So very exciting time to be in sim racing, especially as a student, a college student, trying to put your school, guys. And we know that we love universities and we love competition between them, and we want it here in the sim racing arena.
Yeah, and we're going to see plenty of it here tonight. Lap 30 on the ticker right now. So I think Santiago Perez and Jared Kaler have got this figured out right now, Jared and Josh. I think they know what they need to do here to keep Austin Farr behind them, and at worst case, one of them will win. Don't know which one, but it'll be one of them, I think. And I may be rescinding my earlier pick for Austin Farr, though. It's so hard to bet he gets to be such a good driver out there, and there's a number of good drivers up there as well. Let's not count out the number 91, Gage Anderson, and Ryan Lusich just behind. Derek Jennings would like a trip to this podium as well, and if he's moved up all the way to 6th from 22nd, I see no reason why you couldn't bet on the Grand Canyon University machine either.
No, I don't think so. And I don't mind my previous pick of St. Joe's College, Ryan Fenty, in that 26 machine. But, guys, you could pick any one of the top 10, I feel, and be competitive. But, yeah, Austin Farr, he's going to know the strategy, and he's been not only racing but racing iRacing for quite some time. So he's going to have a plan. And can he get it? Can he execute? We're going to find out here. But the UTK esports driver is sitting third, and he's going to have his work cut out for him as we get to about the halfway point.
Gonna get a good look at this restart from high up above from our CIL chopper, located high above Texas Motor Speedway, and they are off and early. Our Santiago Perez and Jared Kaler. Back behind, it's Austin Farr, Gage Anderson, and Ryan Lucic making up your top 5. Derek Jennings in the Grand Canyon University car right behind.
Yeah, so up on that high side now with a little bit of worn tires, you see that there's some pace to be had. So that 91 machine is going to look good, but Ryan Lusich is going to battle back with those tires on the inside. Now we go into turn 3. Who's got the advantage? It might be Grand Canyon University, guys. We talked about, will we get down to one groove here, especially in 3 and 4 where it's flat out anyways. We want to take the shortest way around. It looks like right there you see the 91 just trying to take a little bit of air off and maybe side draft on that machine a little bit without getting into his quarter panel and turning him right. This is a left turning track only, in case anybody was wondering. But you see plenty of schools there. You see Indiana, Texas A&M, North Carolina State, the Wolfpack. And then looking at the inside, Ryan Fenty from St. Joe's College. Guys, 2x2, they go into turns 3 and exit turn 4.
Yeah, a lot of action going on here, but it looks like UNT Ryan Lusich has sort of lost those front 3 cars, so it's going to be a battle, I think, for the top 4, or the up to 4th position right now, as it were. Derek Jennings and Gage Anderson have been side by side for about 2 laps now. As we see, I think we're on board with Derek Jennings at the moment, getting by the 37 Zach Lindler machine going down low there. So 91 dropping back a little bit, had to hang it around the outside for a number of moments. And I've got another caution pop up on my screen. Looks like a Robert Morris University car down there in the wall. Not quite sure. Another car without the front clip on at the moment. So this is coming through the front stretch, into turn 1 rather. And it looks like the number 8 just working his way up there and gets a bit of a tap to that car. And the 61 around, didn't even see where that one came from, into the Mizzou machine as well. And tries to rejoin. Looks like Robert Morris is safe there, so I think he avoided that instant. But yeah, I'm keep my eye on the 61 machine now and see where he got tapped from. And it was actually just a little bit of help from in front and behind, Josh. Didn't expect that.
Yeah, Athena Leclerc, driver of the 61 machine. She did not probably want to be there at that point in time, but trying to understand, and the guys will go back and race control will review this and understand just who started that. Probably not a racing incident. We did see the 8 machine jump up off the banking at one point, guys.
Yeah, I'm rewatching the replay here on my screen. It looks like the 8 got into the 22, so Tennessee into the side of the Penn College machine, and I think that's really what set this off. The 8 had to check up quite a bit. Athena had nowhere to go from that point, and then I think it was McCall that collected her on the back section there, or at least it was definitely a Purdue machine, I believe. So a lot of cars coming down in pit lane. Your 3 leaders, 4 leaders. I think the entire field just about is safe for everybody. I think that pitted before is coming down, maybe even some of those guys. But man, it's busy down there, Jarrett.
Yeah, guys, it's busy. All the pit crews going to work. You're going to see the right sides of the car pop on up. iRacing does not render the pit crews. You'll see the left sides pop up as well. Looks like everyone's going to take 4 tires down here on pit road. 11 drivers staying out. The first of those, Christian Gomez, race off of pit road. Santiago, a great exit out of the box. Top 3 off of pit lane stay the same, and the rest of you race off pit road. A lot of time lost for that number 91 machine. So that Texas machine of Gage Anderson maybe going to drop back just a hair on this pit exit. John?
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the UTA machine and see how he fares here after that. Would like a good result for them. My alma mater, after all. I try to be not too terribly biased towards them. I already admit my bias towards all the Texas cars, so I try to at least broaden it to all of them rather than just UT Arlington. But UNC Charlotte still looking good up there at the front, pretty even off of pit road as we're trying to get situated out here. A number of cars stayed out there to stay on the lead lap, it looks like. I think that's going to be Zach Lindler in the 37 machine, and a car that we're pretty excited, I think, to see up there. I know the entire FIU team is as well. The 65, Christian Gomez, up there as well, so they're staying out. I think the 37 is going to be a lap down, so he may get a wave by here in a moment. But either way, it's going to be Gomez, Patnell, and Brungut up there at the top. So Lynchburg there in third, and then Ryan Whitlock in fourth as they come across the line now. So pace car lights are out. I don't think Lindler he just got that pass by. So he'll go around the field and join up on the end of it. And it looks like Gomez, I think, is going to lead this field away after we get through this final pace lap.
Yeah, certainly. And Gomez, we saw no stranger there to the front. So he's going to have his strategy. Doesn't look like he has those fresh tires at this point. Keep in mind, these drivers would have stayed out on this caution. Also looks like he has some fender modifications to that left rear. So track, you're going to want that downforce. You see him there on your screen, trying to understand how he's going to attack the final half of this race.
Yeah, and so we've got news that Santiago Torres in 12th position is the first one with new tires. Jared Kaler and Austin Farr back there. So we'll keep an eye on 12th, 13th, 14th, and so on to see how they fare on the first few laps here. They will have a massive tire advantage on all the cars in front. But I think Gomez might just be hoping that it's enough traffic to keep him behind, but there's still plenty of laps left here, Jared, as we get ready to go here on another restart.
Patience is going to be key. You mentioned we're just about over halfway, so being patient, knowing your tires will be good, save them a little bit in case we get that long green flag run that we are expecting. Christian Gomez fires off, maybe a little checkup, guys wanting to go, itching to go, and they finally go. Christian Gomez with a great jump. He's going to lead by 2, maybe 3 car lengths heading into 1.
Yeah, a little bit of wheel spin there. You see Kansas State University in the 3 machine getting it up a little bit high. That's Jared, and yeah, big move there. Going to the inside,
trouble,
4
guys.
wide, but it is going to be trouble back further in the pack. They're still trying as they get through. You see Nick Stockner there in the 5, and you can see that is the 804 car. It looks like VCU, Cody Fadenauer. So, guys, where did we go wrong? Looks like getting ready. You said Jared, cautions, breathe, cautions. So, back down, and yeah, it looks like just contact somewhere in the tri-oval resulted in that, and that will go under review for these guys here.
Yeah, it's always tough at a restart trying to pick your way through there, and I'm not blaming Gomez for it. I think he had a great strategy there. He really had his finger on the pulse of the field, knew that they were just itching to go, And he made guys kind of lose their focus there by waiting until just before the start-finish to get going. And I think that caused the rest of the field to sort of check up more than they were expecting, because they're 4-3 wide throughout the rest of that field. I just, it's going to be tough no matter what happens there when everybody's itching to go and the leader's just being a little bit more patient. Great strategy from Gomez and worked out great from him, but 5 wide it looked like there as they crossed the start-finish line. Man, there's 4 lanes evenly divided here at Texas Motor Speedway. I'm not sure 5 wide's ever going to work, and a lot of cars having to come down here onto pit lane. So Christian Gomez going to maintain his lead for at least another lap here, and if he gets a lot more of this, then that can really work out in his favor here, Jarrett.
Yeah, and we mentioned it, cautions breeding cautions, and if you just got those new tires, we talked about Santiago stuck back there in 14th, and if we keep getting yellows, it's tough to make up that ground. So this could be a great call for the Panther Esports team, maybe staying up. I believe they also have, we're going to check this out, they do still have a set of tires remaining as well. So Christian Gomez could be in the driver's seat for the rest of this race.
Yeah, I think so. He's going to be a good one to bet on. And, we saw it in the last chance qualifier, Jarrett, that he knows how to make this strategy work at every opportunity. And, I think he knows how to manage the tires pretty well as well. So we have a couple cars making their way around and a wave around lap. So Jarrett Grodzicki, a newcomer to the field, up there in 6th position right now, having a great night for him. Robbie Vrabel Jr., currently the leading alumni car in the field, the 083 machine, looking good tonight as well. Not a lot of good paint schemes here in the field. Jarrett, one of the things I like to look at is, for all the new guys that come into this series, who's going to try to get the best paint out there? And it's pretty hard to pick from some of these guys.
Oh, it really is. And in the CIL, guys helping each other out too. We talk about the community week in and week out, guys helping on setups, but also guys helping on paint. So a lot of talented individuals in this CIL community. And you can see it out on the track and just being able to see all the cars, and the FIU team with some excellent paint as well. I know I keep going back to FIU, but they do a great job with the Panther Esports team, and so do a lot of these guys. Tennessee, Texas A&M, really all the way down the board. Josh?
Yeah, and these guys are going to be competing all the way down the board. You've seen it back through the field. So a racing incident, that caution was, and a little bit of net code that we handle here on the iRacing side. So a little bit of a clean FIU car there. That's the number 9 machine, Esteban Munoz, and then Austin DeLong from Pennsylvania College of Technology there. And then it looks like maybe a wave around or getting back to in place. Athena Leclerc, 61 machine, St. Clair College. The other FIU machine, you see Robert Morris University in the 72. And he is going to try and figure out how to set up this run on the outside. Guys, I'm also going to look at 3rd place. That is the University of Lynchburg. Nathan Brungett getting after it here with just 26 laps to go, 25 to go next time by. Lights out on the pace car, so when the green flag drops, he'll be in the mix. You're right, Jared. We're going to have to see how those guys come from the back, how they handle it. You see Dan Banner, no slouch on these intermediates here in these cup cars. So I'm going to have a spattering of results and strategies there. You see the North Carolina Charlotte teams coming and trying to make it to the front.
So lights off on the pace car. It's going to take that hard left-hand turn off of the banking off of turn 4 and on to pit lane. We'll see if Gomez has a similar restart to last time. Waiting. There he goes. 72 of Nicholas Patnella. Better jump this time. Brungett going to try and slide on in. We'll be single file through the top 2, but here comes Robbie Vrabel.
Robbie Vrabel wasting no time. We talked about to the inside. He'll try to get under Nathan Brungett. Going through, and the 083 machine going to come off, just drift off the corner, give enough room to his competitor. Will he have the pace to get down into turn 3 first? I'll tell you who does. His new tires, 58. That is North Carolina Charlotte, Jared Kaler leading the charge for that group. So those guys trying to work through and agree on pace. If you thought it was a gaggle with these guys on old tires, just wait until there's an impatient newcomer with fresh Goodyears on their machine.
Yeah, and here's where it's going to make the biggest differences into turn 1. We'll see how much speed that UNC Charlotte number 58 machine can carry through there. Number 12 just on his backside there. The 143 machine going down low to defend from UNC Charlotte. They're going to sweep around the top side and take away that spot. That's going to be the 5th spot there for UNC Charlotte. So they've got a huge advantage right now. 143 actually moving a good ways back there. Matthew Tucker struggling right now on this restart, not having a great time. Santiago Perez is also making his way up there. These cars on fresh tires are moving extremely fast, Josh.
Yeah, and you can see trying to keep the momentum there. He had to lift probably a little bit more than he wanted as we go 3 wide. And it looks like we will all agree there. University of Lynchburg lifting just a touch. A train of 3 trying to follow, looks like the 26 machine, if I see the defense. That is that big CiL on the front is going to now turn the black machine there, trying to get a number, the 95 machine. And that will cause train reactions. So, guys, I was just going to brag around about Ryan Fenty, St. Joe's College, but I'm afraid that will be an end of line for that group. And, yeah, not sure there. Also, wonder if he had position, if he had a call. That will definitely go under review as well. And a little bit of confirmation before justice is served.
Yeah, so it looks like I think that's the 89 that came off the worst of that instant, but that was really caused by everybody checking up in front. So I think that was Ryan Fenty getting into the back bumper of the car just in front of him. I think that, not quite Matthew Tucker, I'm not sure, it might have been the 65. No, it's not the 65 machine. I'm struggling to see the number on my screen at the moment. But 58 coming off the worst from that one. I see, I think that's a St. Louis. No, it's Penn College up there in the wall, the 22 machine. Not having a great night either. That's not a 65 machine I'm seeing on my screen there, Jared? No way it is.
Yeah, I think that is a 95 machine.
95.
For Hayes State University. Yeah, psychology student Tyler Watts there, racing hard, but yeah, just a wrong place, wrong time, and maybe a little bit tight there for the 26 machine. That will be a convenient end of line for that group. You can see there, so.
More action on pit road, guys. You see the 65 actually jump into pit lane. Robbie Vrabel Jr. joining as well. We'll try and get you a look at Robbie Vrabel as he races off of pit lane. Christian Gomez right behind him. Nicholas Patinella, Matthew Tucker. I believe that was the Clemson machine, the number 5 of Nicholas Stockner. There's Gage Anderson. A bunch of action on pit lane. Maybe guys trying to get their final set of tires on for this end of the race, really. Josh?
Yeah, that is the end of the race coming up, 20 laps to go. And upon further review, that'll be a reversed call, if you will. Fort Hays University did kind of come down, try and occupy that space. That's going to make it a racing incident, given the positioning of those cars. And so, if fans wonder how those cars are not at the end of the line, that is how. So we're going to do pit stops. Everybody's going to try and get their advantage. So some of those guys that you saw earlier are going to be, as you see, Jarrett, on pit road. They're going to come off now. And then you will have some of these older guys with maybe 5 to 10 laps on their tires, depending on how those cautions fell. So we're going to see, when is the right time to use that final set of tires. These guys have 2 sets of tires they can use throughout the 65-lap race. And there's going to be plenty of strategies. Do you put them on early? Do you put them on and save one for later? Do you think there's going to be a caution later, or will it go green for the last 15 laps?
Yeah, that's all a gamble you really got to take, And when is it? We saw the tire difference in the LCQ, so it's going to be tough to say when the right spot to pick is. But I tell you what, if you're up in the front, I think stay up in the front. Jared Kaler currently sitting in your lead. Nathan Brungett back there in second. He's having a great race. And Ryan Lucic and Santiago Perez may give your top 4. I tell you what, John, if you're up there, you got to stay up there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think you can waste any time trying to think about a pit strategy at this point. I think you have to commit to it with 20 laps to go. There could be very well another caution as well tonight, maybe even a couple other cautions. Well, I'm hoping not. I'd love to see a green flag run all the way to the checkered flag, but at Texas, it seems to breed a lot of cautions, as you said earlier. So it's looking good for Jared Kaler at the moment. Nathan Brungett, Litchburg. This would be a great podium for that team. They would get a huge helping of points if they're able to hang on to that second podium position. And Ryan Lucic for UNT, I know would also like that. I'd love to see a Texas car up there on the podium as well, but that is all in the hands of Ryan Lucic. I think I've lost track of the 91. Looks like Gage Anderson has dropped down to 23rd at the moment, so that may be a factoring of pit stops and who has chosen to come down. Christian Gomez coming out in 20th after that pit stop has filtered out. A couple cars getting sorted out coming off of pit lane now. So yeah, Austin Farr in 5th could still make it happen, but he's got Santiago Torres behind him with Jared Kaler leading the race. Josh, I think Santiago is going to give Austin a real hard time if he tries to get past that UNC team.
I think so, and I would agree. I do see a white Tennessee car back behind there. That's going to be the 25 machine. So Tennessee going to try and make use. Yeah, we see 2 Tennessee cars in your shot and 2 cars from the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Both teams and both schools are past champions here in CiL. So bonus points for consistency there. Guess these guys are going to put up a fight here in the last 20 laps.
Speaking of those last 20 laps, guys, we noticed Nathan Brungett being on the apron over those caution laps. He pitted lap 17. He's going to be close on fuel there at the end of the race, guys. So here we go, coming back to the green flag. Jared Kaler going to lead the field off of turn 4, heading toward that start-finish line. Brungett on the outside, we mentioned just a moment ago, pitted lap 17. So he's got well worse tires than this group around him. So pay attention how the 64 is able to kind of get in line. Big jump right there for Jared Kaler. Tara is on the outside. No problem getting to the back bumper of the 64. They'll go 2x2 with Lucic from North Texas. They might go 3 wide in turn 1. Josh?
Yeah, and the 18 machine having to make hard decisions. Knows he wants to get that car out of the way, but doesn't want to spin him, doesn't want to stop. It's going to be 3 wide. He's going to force the issue, give a little bit of room, a little bit of a wiggle, but capes his momentum on the outside. They'll dive 3 wide down into turn 3 as we get another caution. These guys struggling to get going, everybody a little bit antsy towards the end. You see Robert Morris University there, as well as a Clemson car.
Yeah, unfortunate. A lot of cautions coming out from here. But, Jared, one thing I did notice on that restart, I think that 100% confirms that Torres and Kayla were talking to each other on that restart. So we see 72-59. Sean Campbell getting in there as well. The 143 machine involved as well. 143 is going to be Matthew Tucker. Oh, man, a lot of cars involved in there. A lot of guys having pretty tough nights. If you're not running the top 10 consistently, then you may have been collected by one of these incidents tonight. And if so, that... just the way racing goes sometimes, and on a 1.5 mile circuit, these cars are going to be pretty packed up here. It looks like somebody was already loose a little bit earlier in that corner, and just everybody getting collected there on the bottom side. But yeah, Jared, back to what I was saying a moment ago. You saw Torres there on that restart. He immediately got away as soon as Kaler went to the throttle, and he was right on the bumper of that UNT machine in front of her. Or was it Brungett? He was right on the bumper of. Either way, he got a lightning fast restart. Let's keep an eye on that here again. With 17 laps to go and see if they're able to redo that one.
Yeah, guys paying attention at home. Guys involved in that most recent wreck. Jeffrey Ford, Joshua Tiggs, Sean Campbell, who is having a great run, Zach Lindler from Clemson, Nicholas Patinella, Jeff Pete, Samuel Schur, Tristan Yoder, Edwin Onefre, Alexander Gagnon, and Bradley Daniels, all involved in that crash.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure what all kicked all that action off there. I'm riding on board with the 91 at the moment. Guys are 3 wide in front of them. The 143 gets in the side of the 72 machine, and then chaos just ensues behind it. The 91 was actually pretty lucky to make it through that unscathed. So he'll hang on to the position that he had before that. Athena Leclerc also looks like she made that through there unscathed as well. So a couple of cars getting through it just fine, but definitely not everybody here. But 16 laps to go. These guys are going to be, probably chatting to each other on the radio. A lot of radio action going on. Mr. Fadenhauer chatting to everybody. I think there might just be talking and saying, cool down a little bit. We want to get some green flag running in here and have the opportunity to make some overtakes. I know some guys probably still have some pretty fresh tires here because they've only run really 1 or 2 hot laps on whatever tire set that they had just put on. So plenty of strategy options left to play in this field.
You know who's loving these cautions, though? It's Nathan Brungett in the 64 machine, looking like a genius, pitting on lap 17 and just kind of holding serve. Still up there in 4th and just hanging on right now. Yellow with 16 to go. We'll restart with 15 to go. And he might end up looking very, very smart, pitting all the way on lap 17 and just riding around in that front, staying out of trouble. That's almost a super speedway type strategy paying off here at Texas.
Yeah, you know what impressed me the most about Nathan Brungett's run so far is he came from 39th. He was in the heat race, the last chance qualifier leading up to this. And somehow he has found the pace in that car to stay up there at the front. So, yeah, Jared, I think I agree with you. Expert strategy from the Lynchburg team here tonight. That number 64 machine looking good up there at the front of the field. Let's hope they keep it there. But Austin Farr just behind, Ryan Fenty just behind him, and then Jarrett Grodzicki trying to make a good debut race here in this field here tonight. But let's cross our fingers here, gents. That may have been our last caution. 15 laps here to go, Jared, as we get ready to rock and roll once more.
We talked about it. If guys are patient, you're going to be able to pick up those spots. Guys with the fresher tires, you'll be able to hang on. And guys that have maybe saved a little stuff here at the end, especially with all the yellow, you'll be able to pick up those spots. It's just a matter of everyone being patient, everyone taking what's given and nothing more. But we've seen guys want to be aggressive. Guys want to get that spot. I don't blame them. Guys going for that gap. And that's the mark of a race car driver, as a famous race car driver once said. Jared Kaler going to lead the field away, and a great jump once again from that UNC Charlotte machine. They're going to leave the 12 in the dust. Austin Farr back behind, trying to pass by Lynchburg. Down in the turns 1 and 2.
And Ryan Lusich there trying to find his place in line. Tennessee machine going to try and stay low. A little bit of a push there from Nathan Brungett. A little bit loose off. You see Kansas State in that Cessna machine looking low. But looking lower is UC Berkeley. He's going to take it in and bury it in turn 3. Guys, he's going to have a little bit of room. I wonder if that University of Lynchburg machine is getting a little bit worn out on those tires as he struggles to maintain that white line down there. But following back ahead with these guys, that's in fact a little bit of a push there from Lynchburg. And you wonder if Nathan Brungett knows exactly where the nose of that car is.
Yeah, and he started to wash up wide just as he got underneath that bumper, though. That's one of the things we noticed in the practices was just how much understeer you get in the car as you try to do that. And it looks like the 44 is just going to slot in underneath. Great move there from Henry Morse, making that Berkeley machine move up there towards the front of the field, now up into the top 6 position. 6th position for the 44 machine. UNC Charlotte still up there at the front. UNC Charlotte 1 and 2. Ryan Lusich for UNT losing the spot for the moment to the Tennessee machine. Austin Farr coming in here on the low side. They're going to go side by side into turn 3 and 4. This should be a flat out corner, but they've got a good amount of tire wear. Looks like UNT is able to slot just in front here. Going to try to pick up the toe off the UNC Charlotte machine just in front. Therese is smart to this one, though. He's not going to let that UNT machine by into turn 1, Josh.
No, and he's going to make that thing with 2 Carolina cars double wide. Look there as he just went into turn 1. He blocked the inside and then backed out. Just gave Kaler, his teammate, UNC Charlotte teammate, the room to slide down in front. That's the benefit. You'll see that white Ethan Morris white Tennessee machine not in your picture currently. So a little bit of internet questions from St. Joe's College there in New York. See Ryan Lusich there. He's maintaining 3rd. So, guys, Ryan Lusich pretty well. North Texas is going to have to contend both with their windshield and their rear view mirror. In fact, the time has come as Tennessee tries to look around the outside. He's going to have a little bit of a toe. He'll stall that 12 machine out, and voila, neck and neck down the backstretch.
Yeah, I think Tennessee has a slight advantage here coming into turn 3. I think it's going to sweep down just in front of the UNT machine. So UNT dropping back to 4th now. So now it's UNC Charlotte in the top 2 positions. Austin Farr up to 3rd for the time being. 9 laps to go as they cross the line here now. So still pretty tight battle here. Up here in the front 6 cars covered by just under a second. And then it's a decent gap back to Nathan Brungett in 7th position. 1.5 seconds off the lead at the moment. I don't know if they'll be able to catch this pack. Looks like Henry Morse is going for a move on, that would have been Ryan Fenty, I think just in front of him, and nothing doing there. And Josh, I tell you what, I was pretty scared when that car blinked out there earlier. I was sure that was going to result in an accident. I'm pretty amazed that it didn't.
He did. We're going to have to work on that infrastructure bill coming later this year. But you can see Tennessee on the outside. He's going to try. Does the Tennessee machine have the juice to get around the outside, going a long way around? He's going to push that car down a little bit. He does. He's going to get off the corner. Maybe we can check who has fresher tires or if they pitted at the same time. But flat out in turns 3 and 4, guys, the University of Tennessee might be able to split this party up. You can see where Tennessee is putting that car. Austin Farr making the 18 get just loose enough. Will it be enough to complete this pass? You can see University of North Texas thinks they're looking for a way through. Guys, if I was that 12 machine, I don't know who I'd follow.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think they're all on the same age of tires, if my memory serves me correctly. I think they all came down. Yep, all right, we're getting the confirmation there. So Tennessee, slight advantage here into turn 3, but I think that Therese had a great exit there up at turn 2. It's hard to get that exit off turn 2 when you're in the high groove like Austin Farr's running, but he's making it work for him. I don't know too many other guys that can make that high groove around Texas work like that, given no space. That 18 on the low side, slight advantage the 18 into turn 1. Look how much speed Austin Farr is carrying into the corner on there, really sending it in there and using up whatever tire he has left. Still green here, 6 laps to go. This top 12 pack, top 6 pack is not changing, but you know who's loving this right now? Jared Kaler stretching out his lead right now, just over half a second back to Santiago Gutierrez or Austin Farr, because their bumpers are pretty much equal across this lap here, Josh.
That's correct. And yeah, you can see side by side. I think this is going to be a trend we're going to see for the next 5 and now 4 laps to go. As actually I stand corrected, we are going to be yellow. And those guys so close together, neck and neck, trying to get through. Still trouble on the front stretch. But those leaders very close. And again, the benefit of having your teammate right there, a little bit of super speedway blocking, as we'll have to back that one up to understand just how that was going.
Yeah, I hope that Christian Gomez was wearing a Hans device, because that was a nasty wreck for him. So here he is coming off the backstretch here into turn 3 at the moment on the high side. And he was up in the wall just a moment after this. We'll see if he had any help from behind. So far, it looks like he's all on his own. He just washed up high. I think he got a little bit in the dirty air of the car in front of the Tennessee machine, then down into his side, and then up into the wall, and then obviously collecting. I think that was Derek Jennings in the 15 that came across our screen there, and the 89 machine collecting him as well. Scott Ratliff also involved there, so not great for the FIU team at the moment. Looks like their top car is going to be Esteban Munoz in 14th tonight. That's a hard finish to this race for the 65 machine after that excellent run in the last chance qualifier. So tough to see for Christian Gomez.
Yeah, and unfortunately that'll be a strike for that crew there, the 65 car. The 9 machine, Esteban Munoz, still remains unscathed. And we go back, guys, to the front. Absolutely very, very close. Very close race, guys, and a lot of patience, these guys working together. And you saw it right there. And the question here is, can Tennessee, they're going to start just behind Charlotte, can they stick their nose in somewhere? They expect a big move as we get rolling on the screen here.
Yeah, we'll see if it goes green, with 3 laps to go, and we're under caution right now, Josh. I'm not entirely sure on how iRacing's going to construct the rule book here, but it very well could finish under green, finish under yellow. Certainly hope that's not the case, but if so, I mean, you got to hand it to the UNC team. They drove expertly here tonight, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I've got my fingers crossed, Jared, that we'll get the pace car lights out and maybe get 1 more lap in.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see what they say, and maybe we will have a little bit of a shootout here on our hands. We'll see what those guys do.
Yeah, for those of you unfamiliar with CIL rules, there are no green-white checkers in the CIL. So if we get that yellow flag with 1 to go, the race will finish under that yellow flag.
So for a quick rundown of the runners in the field right now. So obviously it's still UNC Charlotte in 1 and 2. Jared Kaler leading, Santiago Torres, Austin Farr in the 3rd position. Ryan Fenty for St. Joseph's College in 4th. Ryan Lusich for UNT in 5th. At the moment, Nathan Brumgett for Lynchburg in 6th position. Henry Morse having a good race. Actually, let me back up a moment. Brumgett has moved from 39th up to 6th. I know, Jarrett, you were mentioning it earlier that he had a pretty expert strategy, just staying out, not really taking any new tires, and just, knowing that there's going to be cautions, just try to maintain track position, and that's really worked out for him tonight. So that's going to help him to a good helping of points here after this is all said and done. Jarek Grodzicki is in 8th at the moment, and Jeremy Rogers in 9th. And it looks like, I think this will finish under yellow. Maybe you can confirm that for us, Jarrett.
Yeah, it's looking like lights are still on the pace car. So unfortunately, we are going to finish under yellow here at Texas. But that means Jared Kaler is going to be your winner here at Texas for the CIL Round 2. And UNC Charlotte taking a 1-2 sweep of those top 2 spots.
Yeah, and awesome performance that we saw from those guys. Tennessee doing everything they could to get around. And guys, I don't know who was ahead at the line each time, but I think that with 2 cars up front, the North Carolina Charlotte crew had this thing wrapped up. Some other guys, Nathan Brungett, University of Lynchburg, he'll bring it home. Vrabel St. Clair College, gonna bring it home as well. Robbie Vrabel Jr., no slouch here. So exciting for those guys, and the storylines continue to develop now after the second race of the season. I don't feel so bad about my pick to win. I believe there in fourth is Ryan Fenty, St. Joe's College, was able to indeed save those tires and avoid destruction here. And yeah, you can see the University of Charlotte team going to enjoy this one just a little bit.
Yeah, they're definitely going to enjoy it, but who still is going to have the championship lead after this is going to be Austin Farr, a P1 last week and a P3 this week, so that's 50 plus 35 points, so that will put him, I think, just 5 points in front of Santiago Perez after this race. So despite UNC having a fantastic race, UNT also having a great race, up there in fifth for Ryan Lusich, but UNC pretty unbeatable tonight. They expertly, I think Austin Farr is wishing that he had an ex Coke Series teammate to run with right now, because Santiago Perez is really helping out Kaler to a good helping of points here tonight. Kaler's going to be pretty happy with this one.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. And the North Carolina at Charlotte crew also going to be pretty thrilled with this one. So tradition is rub up on the pace car, and these guys will come around. Going to complete the InnoVetted white flag lap here. The miners at the University of Charlotte, North Carolina at Charlotte, going through. But guys, storylines that I looked at tonight were tires and patience. I didn't actually see as many cars in the turn 2 exit wall as the turn 4 exit wall. Coming off that tri-oval, it's easy to get tight in the last minute, and that's what we saw here today. As you can see, this one is going to come to a conclusion. Got to stay behind the pace car until it ends, and that's quite an exciting finish for these guys, and shame that we didn't get those last 5 laps there, guys.
Yeah, at least we did get some solid racing there at the end between those top 3. Really, the top 6, actually. That top 6 pack was, battling pretty hard there at the end, using up whatever tires that they had left on those cars, and I always enjoy watching that, especially at tracks that are more challenging than some of the others that we're going to visit this season. This one's definitely up there. But either way, congratulations to Jarrett Kaler winning his first win this season. I know he wants to keep that streak going if he can, but having not picked up a podium last week, I'm not entirely sure where he finished up last week. I'd have to go pull up the results from that. But either way, this is going to promote him pretty well. Reminder, these guys actually, now that I think about it, do have a drop week available to him. So out of the 6 races that they'll complete, as Jarrett Kaler gives us a nice smoke show there across the start-finish straight and on the home stretch. They do have a drop week, so whatever their worst finish is in a 6-week period, that will get dropped from the results. So your best 5 finishing positions will count towards this. So, this is looking good for the UNC machine, Jarrett.
And you mentioned it, a tough team to beat, really, so it's going to be interesting to watch them as you look at the schools finishing on your screen. We're going to quickly get you the driver results here in a moment, but Jarrett Kaler burning it down here at Texas. Josh?
Yeah, and exactly the way to do it. We'll see those results shortly. And these guys finishing up 65 laps at Texas Motor Speedway. You can see UNC Charlotte taking it home with Jarrett Kaler, Santiago Perez, Austin Farr putting up a good fight. Ryan Fenty, Ryan Lusich, Henry Morrison, Nathan Brungett, Jared Krasinski making his debut for Kansas State University and doing an excellent job in the process. Jeremy Rogers, Ethan Morris is going to finish up your top 10.
Yeah, then Robbie Vrabel Jr. in 11th, I think, is going to be the second alumni, so takes the second place for those points. So St. Clair College having a good night. Kenneth Talbot in 12th for Alabama Huntsville. Colin Colpa in 13th. Esteban Munoz, the top FIU car, in 14th. Matthew Nordberg from NC State in 15th. Carl Lemkuhl For St. Louis University, another alumni car is going to take the third position there in 16th. Gage Anderson in 17th for UTA had a great run here tonight. Samuel Schurer for Clemson, I think the top Clemson car in 18th. Jeffrey Ford in 19th for Mizzou, a great debut from him. Look to see more of that car here in the future. And then Scott Ratliff, another alumni, in 20th for Pittsburgh State.
Cody Fadenhauer from VCU finishing 21st. Sean Campbell had a great run, just an unfortunate string of luck there at the end, finishing 22nd from Randolph Community College. Matthew Tucker from Jacksonville State holding on to 23rd here tonight. Andrew McCall from Purdue didn't call his name all night, but he finishes 24th. Jeff Pete from Minnesota Twin Cities in 25th. Athena Leclerc, she will come home 26th from St. Clair College. Alexander Gagnon from Robert Morris in 27th. Nicholas Stockner from Clemson in 28th. Edwin Onefre from UNT North Texas in 29th. Derek Jennings from Grand Canyon in 30th. 31st is going to be Grant Lemcool from St. Louis University. 32nd is Christian Gomez from FIU. We saw just a tough break for that FIU team there at the end. Ryan Whitlock from Alabama Huntsville in 33rd. Joshua Tiggs from Buena Vista University in 34th. Austin DeLon from Penn College of Technology in 35th. Bradley Daniels from Robert Morris in 36th. Leading the group of Robert Morris cars, Tristan Yoder and Nicholas Patinella down to 38th. Rounding out your field, Ethan Head from Tennessee, Zachary Lindler from Clemson, Tyler Watts from Fort Hays, Gage Swan from Auburn, and Hagen Johnson, your final finisher here tonight down there in 43rd. And as we go from 43rd, we're going to jump all the way back up to first with our race winner, Jared Kaler. And Jared, just the right time, right place for you, and ends under yellow, but a win nonetheless for the UNC Charlotte team. Talk us through those final couple of restarts. You and Santiago look like you're working together there.
Yeah, I mean we're both going to the same school, we're both part of the same team, and we're both communicating with each other, and we were both working together. Even when he was leading and I was second or third, we were both working together pretty much the whole race, and it's nice to see all that work pay out and get a 1-2 for the school. But I think the main thing that set it apart was that restart when we had when we pitted and I was on fresh tires and we kind of had those older tires to work through. I think that right there made the difference because I was able to get a great restart and go 3 wide through some people, and I felt like Austin and Ryan and Santi were not really able to get through them quite as quickly, and then from there on out just kind of coasting to the end.
Yeah, it definitely made it look like you made pretty easy work of those cars. I definitely agree. It looked like Therese and Farr had a harder time with it, but at the end of the day, I mean, still 1, 2, 3 up there at the top, and it was pretty nip and tuck there at the end with those top 6 cars. Were you pretty excited when you saw Santiago and Austin starting to battle it out behind you?
Oh yeah, I mean Austin was railing the top side, especially through 1 and 2. I don't know what he was doing in that machine, but he was railing the top. He was able to get it turned and get a run off off turn 2, and I was just like, oh man, if you got by Torres, it was gonna be a hard fought battle from there on out. But yeah, when they started battling a bit, I'm like, okay, I can breathe a bit easier from here on out.
Yeah, excellent work. Congratulations on the win, teamwork. But what was the prevailing tire strategy for these guys? You talked about the pit, but going into it, was it that you were going to try and guess when the last caution was, or did you have a different usage strategy for your 2 sets of tires?
I was just I wanted to pit halfway through ish, and that's kind of what it played out to be. You kind of had those people that pitted around lap 20 or so, and I kind of wanted to stretch it a bit longer than that. I didn't think that was going to be a good strategy, especially because on that pit stop you couldn't really make it to the end on gas, so you'd still have to make another pit stop anyway. So I was kind of like communicating with Santi, and I was just kind of like, we should probably maybe aim for that halfway mark, and he was like, yeah, I was thinking the same exact thing on that one. And that was kind of where we ended up, was pitting around halfway, and then if it went green from there on out and got a late race, yeah, we were probably going to put on that set of tires, but I don't think we got enough green flag laps to really make that second set useful.
Definitely. Well, a master of on the track, all things pit stops included here tonight, yeah. Jared Kaler. Who do you want to give a shout out to for this win here at Texas?
I want to give a shout out to you guys for putting it on and of course InnoVetted Labs and Next Booklet. I didn't have the best week last week at Daytona, getting wrecked on pit road, but looking forward to maybe putting on some more strong performances for the rest of the season. So thank you guys.
All right. Well, always fun talking to you, Jared Kaler. Go enjoy this win, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
That's Jared Kaler. Always fun to talk to up here in the booth. And once again, just cool, calm, and collected. And you know what I love most about that interview, guys, is eyes forward. He's focused on next week already. Hasn't even appreciated the win just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I've come to expect that from Jared Kaler. He's always pretty much focused on that next race. Doesn't really worry too much about the mistakes behind him, and I think that's going to help him. I think throughout this championship quite a bit. If you don't have to really worry too much about what's already done with and just focus forward, that's always going to be a helpful thing.
Yeah, definitely. So next into the booth is his teammate and second place finisher here tonight, Santiago Terres, coming away second place. And Santi, we watched those restarts between you and Jared, and they were a thing of beauty. Walk us through that there at the end, how you guys are able to orchestrate that.
Oh, what's funny at the end, we didn't. I told Jared that we were pretty much probably going to race it out, so there was really no call outs at the end, believe it or not. At the beginning, there definitely was though, and we tried to line up together and just try to run laps. But with the cautions kept falling, we just had to. At some point, we had to make a decision to kind of pit there because we couldn't make it on fuel all the way, even with all the yellows. So. Yeah, that was, we just had to, pick a strategy. We had an idea and we just kind of stuck with it. Once we got that caution on lap 32, we just kind of said, this is kind of it, I think. So yeah, but congrats on Jared on the win. UNC Charlotte won too, so that's really cool. Really awesome. I'm really, 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 really fun race at the end with Austin there. He definitely didn't think he was going to send it. Well, I saw him send it on the outside, but I didn't think it was going to stick, and he made it stick. And I was like, "Oh boy, here we go." So, but yeah, good fun at the end, for sure.
You've already touched on my question. When you're racing Austin like that, and we were talking up here in the booth that it was probably going to come down to something side by side on the last lap, how do you do your best to ensure that you're going to be the first one across the line at that start finish line? We've seen a couple times the outside car has the advantage. What can you do on the inside in that position?
Just get your line right. I mean, it was just the setup tonight was pretty tight, so being on the bottom definitely was, especially in turns 1 and 2, well, both 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 was kind of a disadvantage. Typically, the bottom is the way to go here, but with how tight the setup was, you definitely could pinch the guy on the inside and possibly get a run on them. From there, from there, I just tried my best just to hold position, just so Jared could get the win, because Austin was pretty good at rolling the top there, and if he got by me, he might have gotten to Jared, and so. But yeah, it was definitely fun there for the amount of laps we raced. That's for sure.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about how this UNC team is set up now. I know that this is the first time I think we've gotten to chat to you. At least I think we didn't get to chat to you after your second place 2 weeks ago. So also belated congratulations for that nice drive there as well at Daytona. But how'd you find the league, and how are you finding it so far? Second race in there, two second places so far. I'd say you've made a pretty strong entrance here so far. How are you finding it?
Yeah, I think I found it, I don't know, somewhere on Reddit. I've been around on iRacing for quite some time, and I've always wanted to kind of be involved in esports, at least with the school. I've been involved in other esports, such as the Coke Series last year. Not in it this year, but I wanted to be involved with the school in some way because we have a good motorsports program to complement just the other things that we have at UNC Charlotte, like FSAE and stuff. So just kind of wanted to see if there's anything out there. I just saw it one day and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to just kind of have fun with it, represent the school and just, kind of come out here and, put on a good show. Yeah, these races are pretty, we pitted there and we knew we were going to have to just survive. I think we restarted like 10th, 11th or so, and Austin got a great restart. There's some holes made there on the bottom, and I believe I had to check up because they were like, I don't know, 2-3 wide in front of me sliding sideways, so just to not wreck. So yeah, I mean, it's just it's just how the races are. I mean, that's what they come down to sometimes.
Well, you said it, just survive and advance in some cases, and you did that here tonight. A second place finish. Who do you want to thank for this finish here tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for putting on this great show and the broadcast. I think this whole collegiate group is really good. No matter what people say, nothing's perfect, but I think it's a great thing just on the grand scheme of things to kickstart this. I think it's really neat. And shout out to UNC Charlotte, and shout out to Jared. Congrats on him in the winning.
Well, Santi, always great talking to you, and I'm sure it's not the last time we'll be talking to you, so go enjoy this, go celebrate with UNC Charlotte, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, guys.
So Santi Torres coming away second place here tonight, and you heard it right there. Teamwork makes the dream work. UNC Charlotte coming away 1 and 2 here tonight. So after that, Austin Farr joining us up in the booth. And Austin, what a ride you had battling Santi Torres there in those last couple laps. Take us through that battle, making it work on the top side. I don't think any of us up in the booth expected it, and you made it work here tonight.
Yeah, it's fun. I just wish the rest of the field could drive like Santiago could, but unfortunately that didn't happen. I knew he was going to try to hold me up because Jared was running away with it, and he got lucky on the first restart. He got I think he got past 5 cars in the one corner we were green. So I was just trying to make up as much ground as I can, and I knew that the bottom was just it wasn't even worth trying because of dirty air, and I made it work on Jared early in the race on the top side. So I just figured I'd try it again on Santiago, but he was much better at side drafting me to keep me behind him. But that part of the race was pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, that was extremely exciting to watch from up here in the booth, seeing you and Santiago go side by side for what seemed like 3 laps straight there. But tell me a little bit about how you're going to deal with this duo from UNC Charlotte. It used to just be Jared Kaler you had to contend with, but now having 2 guys, so one to defend and one to attack. And, you've got, I think, still a 5-point lead going into race 3 of the season. What's your plan to challenge these UNC guys?
I don't know. I just look at each race individually and just go as hard as I can. I try not to think about points because when I do, I start driving boring. Like I start, blocking. I start, thinking too hard. I just go 100% at every race and just see what happens. So, and looking forward, I'm just hoping that, today I wasn't too disappointed with my pace. I definitely had winning pace. I just looking forward to, giving it 100% the rest of the season and trying to minimize mistakes.
Well, right on. I think I'm going to add driving boring to my lexicon for the little driving that I do. But absolutely great to see the Blaze and Orange out there on track. And tell us a little bit about practice and how do you prepare? What did you know and what did you expect? And what was a surprise to you this evening as far as the track temperature, the handling, and the behavior of the car in traffic?
Well, the A car doesn't really surprise me with how bad it is in traffic. But today it was like yikes today, like yikes level today. I couldn't run in the same line as anybody in front of me, so I had to get a little bit creative with driving in traffic. I made it work early on, and then the fuel strategy got a little bit tricky because I'm not a math major, so I really can't do math. I'm awful at it, and I'm just trying to run fuel numbers in my head and figuring out when to pit. Like, is it worth it? Can I stay out on old tires? Because I didn't want to get stuck back there in the middle of the field because the dirty air was pretty bad. But luckily, when I did pit with Jared and Santiago, I didn't get stuck back there for too long, and I guess it ended up working out as good as it possibly could.
It did. P3, I know a couple drivers that would have accepted a good solid 3rd place finish this evening. But congratulations, and let us know who made this evening possible for you. Who do you want to thank?
I want to thank both Ethans that joined the team over the summer. It's cool to have teammates out there finally. You guys are putting this series on, everybody from watching. And yeah.
All right. Well, always great talking to you, Austin. I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon. Have a great night. Congrats again on that third place win.
Thanks, y'all.
So Austin Farr giving us quite a battle. You see it on your screen right there, going side by side with Santi Terres for what felt like forever in that race, John.
Yeah, I love watching battles like that. And I feel like I'll learn a lot from those guys watching it up here in the booth. My oval experience is extremely limited. So I try to pick up on what these guys are doing because I know that, when they're up the field, up at the front of the field the entire night like that, and they can run side by side, without a worry in the world. You heard, Austin Farr say that he wishes every driver could drive like Santiago. And I think that speaks volumes of the quality of these drivers, especially the guys finishing up here in the top 10. Week in and week out. They're just a pleasure to watch race up here, Josh. I'm not sure how you feel about it, but it's a pretty good time, I think.
Yeah, I know watching these two cars go side by side was very exciting for us and had me on the edge of my seat. Yeah, pretty fun to see these guys run around and a lot of talent to be displayed up here at the front of the field.
Yeah, so guys, as we start thinking about final thoughts here at Texas, I think what was our biggest surprise, and I'm going to eliminate the obvious one, the amount of yellow flag laps we had here tonight. But John, for you, what was your biggest surprise, biggest takeaway out of this race? And I'm actually going to include that last chance qualifier if you want to touch on that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you pointed that out because I almost forgot about it there for a second. We had two races here to watch tonight, and Christian Gomez in that last chance qualifier really made that alternate strategy work on tires. But that's not really how it played out there in the feature race because I think Jared and Santiago and Austin had older tires than some of the other cars in the field, at least as that last caution flew out. So. I'm a little bit surprised, actually. The same strategy did not work both times, but, every race is going to be different, especially with positioning of cars and with a 43-car field versus, I think, the 17 that we had in the last chance qualifier. Maybe I shouldn't be so surprised that it was a different result. But either way, I think it was a very exciting race, plenty of action there. Josh, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, certainly. And I think the LCQ might have been some of the most fun I had all night, seeing those guys, work strategy and then get to the front. Also, the most fun I had was seeing these two go side by side. So, no, I'm slowly coming down off of it and thinking about Hockenheim when we go to the roadside next Tuesday night, same time.
Yeah, so Josh said it. If you want more CIL action, we go back to the road side. We alternate road and oval each week. So Hockenheim Ring is up next. That's next Tuesday. Same time, same place. And you're going to see a lot of the same names on your screen, which is always very cool to see that transfer. Those road guys that venture to the oval and vice versa. So next week, Hockenheim Ring. And if you want more oval action, in 2 weeks' time, we go to the Tricky Triangle on October 5th. We'll be visiting Pocono Raceway, and that should be a good one for round 3 out of 6. That's going to be our halfway point of this CIL Season 2. So for one last time here tonight, for myself, John, and Josh up in the booth, thank you for joining us. Big shout out to Jared Kaler once again for the win and that whole UNC Charlotte team. And we hope to see you guys in 1 week's time at Hockenheim Ring. Until